So guys, welcome back. So in this video, like I said from the previous video, we'll be looking on how to configure Firebase in our projects so we can get to create user with their email and password and also log in the user. Then later on we are going to use Firestore to be able to store the user's details and stuff like that. So let's get started. So first things first, you head on towards Firebase website, which is firebase.google.com. Then over here, if you have not registered or if you've not signed up, instead of a picture here, you'll be seeing a sign up button over here. So you do what? You just have to sign up. Then when you're done, you'll be taken back to this page. Then from here, just click on go to console. So when you click on go to console, it's just take a moment. Good. Then we have to register a new project. So let's call the project just like the one we have over here. Let's call it gifted chat app. What is this? So gifted underscore what? Chat app. Okay, can only contain letters. So let's call it gifted chat app. Okay. We really need this. We just need this. Okay, the profile ID is taken. Okay. So let's continue. So we don't need Google Analytics. So this will just take a moment. So good. Let's continue. So now we are in the console of our project. So now let's try to register our project as this is our back end. So let's try to link our back end with our front end. So we'll go click on this web. Then let's give it a nickname. Let's call this gifted chat app. We don't need hosting, so let's register this. Okay, so we need to install Firebase in our project. So let's copy this, go to our project, let's use this terminal. So instead of npm, I'm going to use yarn. I don't know, I just love yarn. So yarn add Firebase. This is going to install the latest version of Firebase for us. So let's get going. So I'll just click on continue to console. Okay, let's just do it here. So this is what we are going to use to get our app started. So this is all we're going to use to link our back end to our front end. Do you understand me? So let's copy this, then let's click on go to console. So let's go to our directory and let's create a folder called Firebase. So in here we're going to store our Firebase config. So a new file called Firebase config.js. So let's just paste all what we copied there. So Control-Z. Let's take this out. We don't need all this. So Control-Z. Don't need all this. Good. So all we just did here is initialize our app with the Firebase backend. So we called on a method called initialize app from Firebase/app. Then we use it to initialize this config. So this config links our front end to the back end. So this is called app. So we are good to go here. So all what we need to do here, we need to do still import authentication. So import get from what firebase / what auth. I think we are done with this. Okay, let's initialize our authentication. So let's call this constant auth, then get auth, and we pass in our app authentication. Let's call this authentication. So get auth, then we pass in app. So guys, we have Firebase successfully installed. Now let's get back to our project. Now if you go to your package.json, you will see here we have Firebase. The version installed is 9.19.1. So now let's head to our Firebase config.js. You can see I've exported these functions, these constants rather, because we'll be needing them in our application, somewhere else in our application. So let's head to our register. So we need to create a function which is going to handle the registering of a user via email and password. So when a user fills this form and clicks on this button, so we should have an on press on this button, we should be able to like submit these details, and that should help us create a user. Mind you that we are already taking tracks or keeping tracks of what the inputs that are being taken in this inputs, the values that are being taken in this input. So let's create a constant, a function rather. You can call it register user. This has to be async. So we'll be using method from Firebase, which is create user with email and password. So that has been imported from Firebase /auth, and this is going to take in three things. You can see first thing is going to take in our authentication, then our email, and also password. So authentication is this. Our authentication is going to be this from our Firebase config. So this constant we exported. So let's head back to our register. So we'll pass in authentication, not on auth stage change, authentication. Then we need our email and our password. Good. So we can then tag on a then method. In this then method we'll have our user credentials, so in this user credentials we can just console.log the user credentials. So when this function we create a user, it creates user with email and password. We pass an authentication, email, then the password. Then after then we are being given back our user credentials, which we just console.log. Now for this to work, we need to go back to our Firebase project. Here we go to build and we go to authentication to go and turn on our email and password. So here we click on get started. Then we need our email and password. We enable this and we save it. So good. Now we can head back to our project. So register user, let's have an on press on this button. So on press is going to do what? Register user. So not just console.log in our user credential, let's also console.log just registered a user. So let's try it. Let's head here. So register. Username, let's go with Annabelle. Email, let's go with Annabelle246 at gmail.com. Then password 1234567. So we can just let's attach an avatar to this. So an avatar is not actually needed, because what we just need here is just the email and the password. So we can leave this blank. So let's register the user and let's see what we get in the console. So you can see we just registered a user. This is the user credential which was given to us back, where we have this properties in it. Where you have the email, you have the under here you have the UID of the user. You can head back here, you can see when you go to users. So we just created a user with that particular email and password. So this works successfully. So now let's go to our login page and see how we can log in the user. So we've registered a user now, and we need to create a function that says login. So we'll head on here and let's create a function login user. So this will be async. So we'll sign in with email and password. So sign in with email and password takes two things. As you can see, it takes three things rather: authentication, the email, and the password. So we'll pass in our authentication. Authentication. This is supposed to be imported for us. Authentication, yep, we have it imported. Then our email and our password. These are coming from these states which are being tracked by our inputs. So then we want to tag in a then to this. So then we want to do we want to console.log user logged in. Good. So now let's head to our app, and over here in our login, let me make this full screen. Let's put the email which we used, Annabelle246 at gmail.com. So guys, let me quickly tag on the onPress to this. So in this login we need to add an onPress that is going to login user. Login user. So you can head over here and quickly fill this. So Annabelle246 at gmail.com. Then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So let's see what we have here. So you can see user logged in. Nice. So in the next video to be discussing on how we can actually connect, we can actually set up Firestore, which you can store the user's details once the user signs up.